Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to another episode of The Outside Noise. I am your host today, Taylor Hodges with HottyToddy.com. And first off, happy opening day for the MLB season. It was opening night last night. Today would be opening day, but I think opening day is still more important because that's when all the teams start playing. So that's why I'm wearing my World Series t-shirt for today for this video, just to get in the spirit of things. And, hey, good luck to your favorite team, unless your favorite team happens to be the Mariners, Angels, or Dodgers. So, and Astros. Can't forget about the Astros, even though we almost just did. But it's the Astros. Yeah. Anyways, but hey, let's talk baseball, because that's what today is all about. It's opening day, and then we're also a day ahead of what is going to be a very important series for Ole Miss baseball this weekend. Now the Rebels have number 6 Mississippi State coming in to Swayze Field this weekend, and we don't really need to get into too much about what that actually means and why this series is important. I mean, it's just the rivalry game. It's the rival school for Ole Miss and for State, vice versa. Both sides are going to want to come in and win this just for bragging rights, pride, and to appease their fan bases who really, really, really get into the whole rivalry aspect of this as well. For Ole Miss, I think it's kind of clear what a win for the Rebels would be. It's, kind of further solidifies them as in the upper tier of the SEC teams. Again, for Mississippi State, the goal, it's boom or bust this season for the Bulldogs. Omaha or nothing type of situation, and they're good enough to get there. But like I said in the last video, I think there's a way that Ole Miss can win this series. What happened Tuesday night, though, kind of put a little bit of a damper on that, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, so I guess we're going to talk about it right now. So we'll be right back. Okay, so Tuesday night, obviously for Ole Miss, definitely didn't go the way anybody thought it would. Losing to Memphis that way. I don't have the numbers and stats right here in front of me. I have others in front of me right now, but it just wasn't a good game. All the problems that had been discussed and talked about on this channel, on other channels, on other websites, and even during the TV broadcast themselves. The runners in scoring position, situational hitting, what do you do with 2 outs, and things like that. Those are problems that really got amplified Tuesday night, and combine that plus Owen Kelly looked good until the very end, and then after that the pitching was a little bit shaky. So when you get your troubles at the plate combined with a shaky pitching day from your staff, you get upset in a midweek game. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not what you want to see and have happen headed into such an important series like you have this weekend. Now, why do I think that Ole Miss has a chance at this? Well, it's fairly simple in that, and it's beyond the whole, hey, they're on the field, anything can happen. But it's really about 2 things. And it's one, can Ole Miss find their offensive swing in the big moments, big situations, and just in general. 4 hits against Memphis is not going to cut it against Mississippi State. You're going to need a lot more than that, and you're going to need some home runs, like we talked about. That's what this team lives and dies by, is home runs, and they're going to need a lot of them this weekend. Now, the good part about that is Ole Miss does have 46 home runs, and the Mississippi State pitching staff has given up 21 home runs this season. So the opportunity is there. And if the Ole Miss offense gets going like it can, and like we've seen it be on point earlier in the season, then that brings up the next issue, which is the pitching rotations. Now it is 1:50 in the afternoon on Thursday. As of this moment, and I checked just before I started recording this video, the starting pitchers have not been announced for either side. And there are questions for both Ole Miss and State in regards to who's going to start these games. For Ole Miss, it's probably going to be the standard rotation of you get Hunter Elliott on Friday night, Will Libbert on Sunday, and then the question is that middle Saturday game starter, Cade Townsend. Is he going to be available? Is he healthy? He didn't pitch last weekend, but it was more of a precautionary thing, or at least that's how it was pitched to everybody in the media. So, and we haven't seen him, walking around with a brace on his arm or anything like that. He's been in the dugouts and stuff like that. All the reports have been good. And so I would expect that we would get to see him on set for this series. Because, I mean, if you're gonna risk it for any weekend series, I think it would be this one. But then again, I think, yeah, so let's go ahead and assume that we get Cade Townsend on Saturday. And then we have to flip it over to Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State is good. They're at the top. They rank at the top of the leaderboards in the SEC for most of the batting categories, and they're in the upper half for most of the pitching categories as well. So they're good. However, there is a little bit of an opportunity here to take advantage of a situation. The normal Friday starter for Mississippi State, Ryan McPherson, he left his last start early with some kind of injury, ailment, tightness, or something like that, and then he was then later on in the week spotted with a brace on his throwing arm, elbow. So that's not a good sign. Plus, after the Tuesday win against Southern Miss, Brian O'Connor said afterwards that I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm going to paraphrase, but basically he doesn't think that Ryan McPherson will be available for this weekend series against Ole Miss. Now, that's the Friday starter. That's your ace starter. That's like Hunter Elliott leaving or not being available. That's the hole that Mississippi State has to fill. And Ryan McPherson's good. He's in that role for a reason. He's at the top of the ERA leaderboard for Mississippi State. And yeah, there's a question as to who's going to start there. And that is where I think Ole Miss, if the offense and the bats are going, that's when they can take advantage and steal a win away from Mississippi State. Again, that's a big if on the offensive side of things, and then also, but also Mississippi State has some players and some options that they can put out there for to start, but none of them are reached the levels of what Ryan McPherson or what some of the other what the next two starters bring to the table. And that's why I think it's really important also to have Cade Townsend back in that Saturday role, because I don't think we'll see Mississippi State alter its normal pitching start days. So, they have Ryan McPherson for their first game starter, and the second game has been Thomas Valencius. Now, Valencius has been red hot. I mean, last two outings for him, he won SEC Pitcher of the Week for the first one, and probably would have won it a second time if the Alabama guy didn't throw the first no-hitter in decades for that school. So he's been really, really on point, and him and Townsend have some similar stats. Valencius has a 1.04 ERA, and then I have it right here. I have to scroll a little bit, sorry. Townsend has a 0.92 ERA, also a 0.97 whip, compared to Valencia's, who has a 0.87 whip. So they're pretty even in that one. If Townsend is the one that goes, and if obviously Valencia's will go Saturday, that's going to be a very good pitchers duel. And who knows who, it's going to come down to who can last the longest and whose offense can maybe push 1 or 2 runs across the plate. In that scenario, unfortunately, I understand this is an Ole Miss channel, but State's got the better offense. I mean, just looking at the numbers, I'll see if I can get a little bit of the table to show. But, batting average, slugging percentage, OPS, RBIs. Ole Miss has drawn 5 more walks than Mississippi State, but State also has struck out, I think, what's that going to be, about 40 to 50 times less than Ole Miss, which, again, that's what Ole Miss does. They hit home runs and they strike out. That's just how they are going to be, and they need to be hitting more home runs this weekend if they want to have a chance. So we laid out how to win the Friday game. We laid out what will probably happen in the Saturday game. Again, hey, I'd like to be wrong about that. I'm okay with being wrong about that. I don't really have a preference either way, but the Sunday game, that's going to be more of the wild card, and I think that one, again, you will need to see Will Libbert kind of at his best as well, and we haven't. His stats are a little bit more not as good. He's only 2-2 on the year. He's got an ERA above 6, a 1.54 WHIP, and 32 strikeouts, which is the same number as Cade Townsend. But Will has another start and a lot more innings pitched this season. So, you'd like to see him kind of have, his best game of the season, and maybe also it might need to be more of a bullpen game, especially if Hunter Elliott and Cade Townsend can give you 6-7 innings in their starts. So yeah, that's kind of how I see this, is that who's going to pitch for Mississippi State on Friday, who's going to pitch for Ole Miss on Saturday, and then which version of the Ole Miss offense do we get to see show up? If we see the one that we saw Tuesday night against Memphis, it's going to be a long weekend in Oxford. I'll just say that. If we get the one that maybe we saw once or twice against Kentucky, maybe in that first game against Texas, and in some of those non-conference games, then it might be a very, very, very fun weekend in Oxford. And yeah, so that's kind of how I see that. Again, we're still a day out ahead of the game, but that's kind of how I see it. Now, for an actual prediction, I think my official predictions are going to be that Ole Miss will find a way to win that first game. It's going to be in Oxford at Swayze Field, so they get the home field advantage, the home crowd. It's a Friday night game, so that's usually the night that you can get some big numbers, unless of course you're in Starkville, in which case you can get big numbers on a Tuesday night. Which, hey, not hating on that. That's very impressive that they got almost 13,000 people to show up to a midweek game. Granted, there was a little bit of a rivalry aspect to it, with it being Southern Miss and a top 15 matchup. Still impressive. Anyways, back at the ranch. Yeah, so I think Ole Miss will find a way to get a win in that Friday game. I think we'll see Hunter Elliott continue to pitch like he did against Kentucky, a long 7 innings, very good, very dominant. And then, I think it was Taylor Rabe who came in last time afterwards against Kentucky to shut it down. So I think we'll see that. And hopefully there's enough offense to kind of help carry that through. Saturday, I'm going to go ahead and pick Mississippi State to win that game, just with the question mark around who's going to start for Ole Miss, as well as who's going to, Valencia's has been really, really good, and maybe the opinion would change if Ole Miss comes out Friday and shows something at the plate, but sitting here right now, a day ahead, I'm going to go ahead and say that Valencius was probably going to be is probably just going to, hey, shut the Rebels down. And then we'll go into the rubber match on Sunday. And at that point, let's just go ahead and say, if I wanted to be the homer, I'd pick Ole Miss. But honestly, I think State's got the better batting lineup, and I think that's going to be the problem in that Sunday game. Now, granted, Ole Miss, if they don't have to use too many bullpen arms on Friday and Saturday, can turn Sunday into a bullpen-style game and use every single one of their best relief pitchers to get the series win. So, let's go ahead and say Ole Miss can get the win on Sunday by doing that, and we'll call it a 2-1 series win for Ole Miss. Will that actually happen? Who knows? I mean, it could be a sweep either way. It could be a 2-1 for Mississippi State. Anything can really happen when these two schools meet in any sport, and yeah, it'll be fun. So be sure to check back here at hottytoddy.com for more about the games, the series, post-game reactions and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a nice Thursday afternoon, so we're gonna call it a day here. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Again, as always, be safe out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and we will see you again very, very soon.